Shopping for a kitchen faucet can be one of the most surprisingly complicated things to buy for a home. And it's one of the most frequently used items in your home, so you really want to get it right. In this video, I'm going to go through all the things you need to consider when you're shopping for a kitchen faucet. The first question you definitely need to ask is, how many holes do you have in your countertop? If you're not also replacing your countertop, the number of holes you have is going to limit your choices for your faucet. A lot of modern kitchen faucets are intended to be used in one hole, but if you have a 3-hole setup and you want to use the 1 hole, you can often use a plate to cover up the unused holes. If you do have a hole meant for a soap dispenser, you do want to keep that in mind because you want to have a soap dispenser that can coordinate with your faucet. Next thing to think about is, do you want a pull-down sprayer or a sprayer that's off to the side? Most of the modern faucets do have the pull-down style sprayer. If you had a setup with a sprayer off to the side, you could possibly replace that extra hole with a soap dispenser instead if you want to switch to the pull-down faucet. Next, you're going to think about, how do you want the water to turn on? Do you want one single handle, 2 separate handles for the hot and the cold, or would you like to use motion detection? Again, most of the modern faucets have moved away from that 3-hole system with the separate handles and moved into a single handle or motion detection. Even though motion detection seems really convenient, personally I decided against it just because it's more things to break and you do have to have power inside of there. Next, you want to check the measurements of your sink to make sure that you're getting a reasonable size faucet for your sink. You want to make sure that your faucet can get water into all the areas in your kitchen sink. Also, look how much space you have behind the sink for mounting. If you have a very small space, you might want to make sure that you can fit everything in there. Especially if you are looking to use a plate, sometimes those can be larger than the space you have behind the sink. Next, you're going to want to think about what finish you want on your faucet. Now, when you're looking at the finishes for your faucet, you do want it to coordinate with the rest of your kitchen, but there's no law that says that your faucet finish has to be exactly the same as the knobs in your kitchen, for example. Polished chrome tends to be the least expensive option, but it also tends to get really spotty with water, and a lot of people think it looks cheaper than some of the other options. If you're looking for a silver color, brushed nickel tends to be a little bit more forgiving with the water spots. Brass colors can be really nice, but they can also be really hard to match with other ones because there's so many different colors of gold. There's lots of black and brown colored finishes these days, but generally I would steer away from those for a kitchen faucet just because of the high traffic. As a general rule, the black and brown finishes do tend to be less durable than the typical metal finishes. Speaking of durability, you definitely want to consider the durability and the warranty of your kitchen faucet. Again, it tends to be one of the most frequently used things in the house, so you want to make sure that it can stand up to the use it's going to get in your kitchen. For a kitchen faucet, I would strongly recommend sticking to the major brands like Moen, Kohler, and Delta. They tend to have really good warranties and they last a lot longer than house brands. I would really steer away from the house brands like Glacier Bay at Home Depot or Project Source at Lowe's. There's a lot of times those can look just as nice as the name brands for maybe half the cost, but they really don't last very long. Besides being better built and having better warranties, a lot of times you can get replacement parts for the major brands, which are not going to be available for less common brands. And because kitchen faucets are pretty expensive, being able to repair them is a really nice advantage. All right, now where should you buy your kitchen faucet? Well, if you want the absolute highest quality, you should go to a plumbing supply store like Ferguson. But you're gonna pay for the absolute best quality. You can also buy those brand names at places like Lowe's and Home Depot, but do keep in mind that Lowe's and Home Depot do tend to carry different models of those name brands. So sometimes they'll have more plastic parts inside than what you'd buy at the plumbing supply store. But you're also going to pay a lot less money for them. Amazon also carries a lot of options, and I've also had some good luck finding faucets at warehouse clubs like Costco and Sam's Club. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a subscribe. I'm trying to get this channel up to 10,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate your help getting there.